Ke ora tātou, e te iwi e te whānau, ke ora māku e tuku he karakia, hei whakatū where i tō tātou hui. Ai te ngota matua te tamata wairua tapu, āmene. E te atua ka harawa nei rawa ponunga e koropuko nei mui a koe i tēnei ahi ahi. E tuku whakamoimiti atu ana ke a koe monga mei ho mai koe, i ngā rā koe huri a taino ki tēnei wā. E inoi atu ana mātou ke a koe ke tuku mai tō rangi maari e, ki wainga nui a mātou. Ho mai hoki ki a mātou te kaha. Me te mārama, i te puta i ngā whakalo, i ngā pūkenga a tēnā. Kia rongo ai te iwi, i te reka o ngā pūkenga o wēnei e tūnei. Koe nei mātou i noi atu nei ki a koe, e korori ai te matua tamata wairua tapu i pērā no te timatanga, pērā no i nei, a pērā tonu, a ke, āmene. Ai. A ke ora mai a ora tātou. A kai te haere tonu te mihi nui ki te atua te kaihanga. Koe ia kai muhi a tātou i ngā wā katoa. Koe ia hoki te tīmata tanga o ngā mea katoa. Koe ia anō hoki te whakamutunga. Kia whakatapu i aia i ngā wā katoa. Ka huri anō na whakaro kia rātou kua he atu ki te pō. Nui rātou he hinga atua ne hinga mai ana. He kore he mutunga mō tēnā āhuatanga. Ko tahi noho te kōrero mō rātou katoa. Haere koutou, haere, mai ro te moi ngaro o te ariki. Ana ka hoki mai ki a tātou e hui nei i tēnei ahi ai. E mihi ana ki a koutou katoa kua tai mai. Ai. E mihi ana ki a koe hoki te tia mana, pōn, mau e whakahaere i ngā ai tēnei hui i tēnei pō. Kare he nua ki ngā kōrero, e mihi ana, e whakatau ana i a tātou katoa. Huri noa, kia ora mai anō rā tātou.
Tēnā koe Uncle Robert, e te rangatira nau tēnei hui o tātou te whakatōhia i whakarite, nō reira nei rā tamahi ki a koe. E tautoko ana ngā mihi ki a rātou kōti te haere, e runga te mato te whenua. Ka mihi hoki ki ngā kaumātua, ngā Pākeke, ngā rangatahi i tēnei pō. Ka nui te mihi ki a koutou ngā kaitono, kei mui a tātou, ngā kaitono a te tāwharau o te whakatōhea. Kia ora whānau, nice to be with you this evening. Just want to thank again Uncle Robert for opening our hui. To acknowledge, as Uncle Robert has, those who are no longer with us, and to our kaumātua, our Pākeke, our rangatahi for joining us tonight, and to the stars of the moment, our kaitono, our candidates for our new post-settlement governance entity Te Tāwhare o Te Whakatōhea. Ko Vaughan Payne tōku ingoa tētahi uri o Ngaitama Haua, Ngāti Rua, kei te mihi atu ki a koutou. I'm the chair of the Establishment Trustees of Te Tāwhare alongside Uncle Robert and other Establishment Trustees. As Establishment Trustees, our role is temporary, it's limited, it's only until we elect interim trustees or trustees that will be our inaugural trustees for our new entity, Te Tāwhare. And so we will have 16 interim trustees that are elected, 12 hapu trustees, so 2 from our 6 hapu, and 4 general trustees. And so whānau, hopefully you're starting to get your voting papers arriving in the mail. Those votes close at 12 noon on Tuesday, the 21st of November this year. And in terms of our 4 general candidates, our seats, just a reminder that you will have a maximum of 4 votes but we have 17 candidates, and so we're really blessed to have such talented people amongst us wanting to stand for our new trustee is in the general seats. It's important that irrespective of age, that you vote for the top 4 candidates, and from the results of the voting, or at least one of those one of those 4 will be a rangatahi at least, and rangatahi defined as being 18 to 35. So it's awesome to see some of our rangatahi joining our other candidates to stand for our general seats. So yeah, it's really exciting to be able to hear from 8 of our 17 candidates for the general seats tonight. And tomorrow night we will hear from the other 9 candidates. We were going to have Susanna Kitchener with us tonight, but she's an apology. Her whoro isn't well. So the 8 candidates, if I can just go through those whānau that we'll hear from tonight. So we have Kahukore Baker, and this is the order that you'll hear from them. Kahukore Baker, Jeanette Campbell, Te Ringahuia Hata, Nicholas Hellier McGill, Marsh Moore, Lynn Restra, Tania Marie Tapiki Smith, and Hemi Walker. And the format, whānau, is that each candidate will have a maximum of 7 minutes, and when there's 1 minute left, you'll hear or hopefully hear a putātara sound, and that'll signal that there's 1 minute left to go of the 7 minutes. Now, we've just to support our candidates in terms of their kōrero, we have given them all the same 6 questions as prompts for using their time. And so just to share those 6 questions, hopefully they will come up. Thank you, Nat. Are you there, Nat? Yeah, here we go. And I'll just go through those 6 questions, whānau. So question 1 is coming. So yeah, the first question we asked our whānau was, if you supported the settlement, can you tell us why? If you didn't support the settlement, can you tell us why not, and why you've now chosen to stand for our settlement entity? Pātai Tuarua, what do you believe are will be the most important attribute or quality as a trustee? Pātai Tuarua, can you give an example of how you have demonstrated such an attribute in your other roles? Pātai Tuawhā, what do you see as the main challenges facing whakatōhea over the next 3 years, and how will you approach those challenges as a trustee? Tuarima, as a candidate, you have agreed to Te Otitanga. Why is Te Otitanga important to Te Tāwharo o Te Whakatōhea? And can you give an example of how you will apply it to challenges around the board table? And our last question, whānau, is settlement processes are divisive. What will you do to unite our whānau, hapu and iwi so that we can reach our collective potential? Kia ora koe, Nat. And before we hand over to Kahukore, just want to spend a moment acknowledging all those who have helped us get to this point. It is a significant milestone in our journey as whānau, as hapu and an iwi of whakatōhea. So acknowledging those, as Uncle Robert has, who are no longer with us, acknowledge those who have worked hard on our settlement journey and just our well-being as whakatohea as a whole being, including the trust board, our various whānau hapu, and in terms of the settlement, the pre-settlement claims trust. And probably lastly, just to acknowledge that prior to Raupatsu, we were a very prosperous whānau, hapu and iwi. And prosperous meaning to me culturally, spiritually, socially and economically. And so the wawata that we have as part of our trust deed is kia rangatira ai ngā uri o te whakatohea, to revitalise and build prosperity for te whakatohea. So just all about some context and backdrop to our wonderful candidates, and thank you to them again for picking up the rākau, the challenge to stand for our new settlement entity, and excited to hear from you all tonight. And we'll start with Kahukore. Kia ora koe, Kahukore.
Helps if I unmute, doesn't it? E te whānau o te whakatohia me te upokarehi, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Mākio me Pukanui o Raho o ku maunga. Ko Waiawa me Waiotahi o ku awa. He uri o te whakatohia me te upokarehi. Ko Heratanga Pananehu Baker tōku papa, rawa ko Dawn Kincaid tōku mama. Ko Kahukore Baker anhi. I have no doubt that there are people listening tonight and who are on this call who believe we're 95% there. Well, I'm here to say we've got 95% to go. And I make that comment from being deeply embedded in Upukarehi's treaty claim since at least 2008, as a claimant, as the Kaiwhakahaere Rangahau for the Upukarehi Treaty Settlements Trust, Treaty Claims Trust, and having put our shoulder to the wheel to support our Upukarehi whānau through that journey. Now, for me, Upukarehi did not support the settlement. 60% of them voted to be removed in 2022. The vote to support the settlement is under question by Upukarehi. Some people think it's hanging, one of them is hanging in there by one vote. We will be disputing that in further hearings. That is not the kaupapa tonight. But I want to say that because Upukarehi did not support, I did not support the settlement. Now, what Upukarehi had a number of issues with was the mandate. So Upukarehi put up an alternative mandate very early on. We put up a mandate that was mana whenua based and mana moana based. It gave a high focus to issues of mana whenua to determine mana whenua for a land-based claim. And that's really important for truth claims. So the idea was each hapu group speak for their own mana whenua and then come together, whether a shared areas, we work that out, and then we all come together and roll forward where our rangatiratanga, hapu rangatiratanga, and our hapu tikanga support that. We didn't go through that process, so Upukarehi did not support that. Furthermore, we are now in a situation where 39 Upukarehi land sites are coming to this entity, and Upukarehi have 2 votes out of 16. And I don't believe that is fair for any hapu to be in that position. So having spent some time giving evidence at urgency hearings and support, no, we didn't support that. Why I'm here tonight is because I believe we need to go forward to address all these issues which are underlying and haven't been dealt with. I gave evidence at the Ngā Kōrero Tuku Iho hearing for both Ngāti Rua and Upukarehi. And I've given evidence at the MACA on behalf of the MACA, the Tapu Taimoana claim on behalf of Upukarehi. And I note that Upukarehi was supported recently. The Court of Appeal came out and supported the Upukarehi appeal. So that is still going on. So whānau, there are many, many tricky issues under the surface. Now, I think that we need to reflect, and I'm glad you raised where the claims have come from, being I've come from a significant part, I've come from atrocities. So we need to be very mindful that land is coming with a blood attached to it, a blood debt attached to it. It is our blood, but it is not our debt. And what we need to do is support the hapu. If the hapu want to take their lands that are coming back, we need to support them in them. If they haven't got the structure or they don't have the capability, we need to support them to build that rather than take their lands without them wanting us to go there. So a key priority for me is to support the hapu to get their lands back. Now, I've worked in this area for, as I said, since 2008. It's been on a voluntary basis, and that's been driving up and back often once or twice a month from Wellington while working 60 hours a week as a Māori public servant. So that tells you I can be committed. When you're on the desert road in the middle of the night and it's 2 a.m, you know what you're there for, so I don't believe me. Anyway, as a senior Māori public servant, I have developed strategic critical thinking skills that I've used to develop foundational tikanga Māori-based frameworks and strategies. And I've applied them to a number of roles. For example, as Principal Advisor Māori Biosecurity, we were piloting what would happen if New Zealand got an outbreak of foot and mouth. So it was a pilot test case, and I was in charge of piloting the engagement with the iwi. I made certain the iwi were fully engaged. I made certain that we had a risk analysis from the iwi's perspective, and this hadn't happened before. So I'm pleased to say that when Matt finally developed a national MOU with all regional councils, a process I used to support and engage iwi was written into that MOU. I've also developed foundational frameworks when I was at Housing New Zealand. We developed ODOR, which was Housing New Zealand's Māori strategy. It wasn't implemented, but I mihi to the Whare Kotoa Tūru Whenua who gave me the name ODOR. And he said to me, because he knew me quite well, he said, "Kahu kore, I know you can be very impatient, but think of a strategy as this. It's like a puna. It starts high up in the mountains, fresh and pure and clean. And then as it comes down, all sorts of things happen to it. It goes into stagnant waters. It goes into storms. And even when you think, and you look at a stagnant pool and you think there's nothing happening there, there's life underneath." Now, I've held on to that very good advice from that kaumātua because that to me is a foundation of strategic thinking and flow. Also, at MSD, at the Family Centre, I developed the whānau strategic framework to pilot a whole lot of work through there and focusing on research and strategies. Now, I believe that I have the skills critical to building foundational structures to bring open, cultural-based decision-making for all our hapu. There's no point sitting around the table wondering about if we can't trust people. We need to build strong, open decision-making processes. They need to be based on haputanga. They need to be based on our tikanga as whakatōhea and as upukuriki. And everybody, the hapu, need to support and develop those frameworks. If we have robust frameworks, whānau, we can handle the challenges. An oath then falls away and becomes irrelevant because we're all united in where we're going and what we're doing. So that's what I want to bring. I want to bring the opportunity to drive these strategies that I know are critical. We have to have foundational tikanga-based strategies to take us forward. Now, I want to leave you with my father's translation of the whakatauki. Ko te pai tāwhiti whaia kia tata, ko te pai tata whakamaua kia tina. And he translated that as, "Seek ye the distant horizon, the horizon which ever recedes, the horizon which causes dread. For on that path, whānau, will lie our destiny." Kia ora.
Ora kahu kore. Now, next whānau, we have Jeanette. Ngā mihi kia koe, Jeanette.
Kia ora koutou katoa, kei te mihi ahau ki te whānau o te whakatoia. Ko Ngātirua toku hapu, Huri nā Puhikārua taka, ko Olga Okero Thompson toku māma, ko Samuel Campbell toku papa. E noho ana au ki o tautahi, Ko Jeanette Campbell tōku ingoa. So I originally came to Ōtautahi under the Māori Trade Training Scheme, and have spent the last 20 years here working in a social service agency in a range of various roles, from treasurer, management, governance, which incorporates a range of skills that I believe will be relevant. But I'm actually humbled and privileged to present to you tonight. We've got a strong list of candidates, and I'll try to do my best to stick to the brief and answer the questions that were supplied. Now, question 1 asked if I supported the settlement. I did support the settlement for a couple of reasons. The vision of Te Whakatohea Trust Board, ko Te Kai Hoki e Waiaua, to be the food bowl that feeds the world. That's one of my reasons, as this is an aspiration of mine to restore our iwi to our original prosperity. I thought that the settlement team had done the best that they could with the negotiations, and although the government have not acknowledged parts of the grievances, to decline this opportunity would potentially have set us back many years. Now that we have settled, though, this is our opportunity to realise the dreams and aspirations of our kaumātua and for our iwi to prosper with the right governance and direction. It's our time to shine, and we need to unite and work together with a shared vision. Now, questions 2 and 5, I combine my answers as they ask what do I think are the important attributes required for a trustee, and how Te Ōtitanga will be applied to challenges around the board table. To me, key attributes for a trustee are, of course, honesty, transparency, unbiased, non-judgmental, accountability, and also the ability to listen. If trustees come with a collective vision and without personal agendas, I believe this will alleviate some of the potential challenges that may arise with a new board. I believe in the process and that every board member standing for election is doing so and will act accordingly to Te Ōtitanga. Information sharing is key for me. People may not always agree with the decisions made, as you cannot please everyone. But if the process is transparent with no hidden agendas, then this can't be faulted. As a trustee, I understand the role of governance as opposed to operations. And this is paramount that the two are kept separate. Our role is to guide and govern. But it's equally important to maintain tikanga, and having kaumātua in an advisory role is also paramount. The appointment of key people with the relevant skills is required to manage the assets to ensure that all investments are sustainable. Taking on board lessons learned from other iwi who have managed their settlement payouts may identify potential pitfalls that we can avoid, but it also may identify successes that can be duplicated. We may not need to reinvent the wheel, but can take on learnings that will suit our iwi and adapt them to our needs, wants, and aspirations. Now, question 3 asks for an example of how I've demonstrated these attributes in my other role. Probably one example is in my current mahi. We do reintegration in the South Island prisons for Māori. To us, engagement's key. Engagement with whānau is achieved by building and maintaining relationships of trust in a non-judgmental way. Operating transparently with both whānau and the government departments we have to work with. Being able to have those difficult conversations with whānau, as this comes from a place of aroa and manaakitanga. Operating under the whānau order model to help restore their mana and empower them to achieve their goals and aspirations by us providing guidance, support and advice. I believe that's what's required in this role. Question 4 asked about challenges over the next 3 years and how would I approach these. I think one challenge will be that this is a brand new board, and with the 3-year term, things will have to be prioritised, as the realisation of some aspirations just will not be achievable within this time frame. Another challenge will be ensuring solidarity amongst our own people and gaining trust and acceptance of the outcomes. I think the key to this will be through clear communication and openly sharing information, keeping in mind the bigger picture and vision for our iwi. There's no substitute for trust, honesty and transparency. Now, the last question, state settlement processes are divisive, and what would I do to unite whānau, hapu and iwi to reach our collective potential? I previously talked about transparency and other qualities that a trustee requires, but this is also true of what's required to be able to unite whānau and hapu. I agree with our previous speaker, strengthening each hapu to ensure that they are recognised by local authorities, government and other agencies to have the ability to flourish as standalone entities by providing the required resources. This may not be monetary, but maybe as skills, knowledge-based structures. I see the role of this board is to be the enabler to allow this to occur. Everyone needs to feel that their voice has been heard. By having the hapu reps on the board, this allows for that process and hopefully ensures no tribal members are left out and that all beneficiaries have a voice. This is most important. I want to thank those that have joined online for allowing me the opportunity to speak, and whoever is elected, I know will do their best to ensure the success of our iwi. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.
Koe, Jeanette, and my apologies for that pūtātara was a bit all over the place, but well done. Next we get to Te Rangahuia, made up me kia koe e oha.
Aroha mai, I'm still having audio issues switching platforms. Engari, e mihi ana ki Uncle Robert I tūwhera I tēnei hui ki te karakia, te wāhingaro, hei te tautoko au ngā mihi kua mihia, ki ngā mate, huri noi te rohe o te whakatōhea, te mate e takoto mai nā ki ōpeke rau I tēnei rā, huri noa, huri noa, huri noa. E mau kanohi atu ana te tihi o mā keo, o mā titi ki whakaari, ko te pueatanga o te mātā puna o Waioe ka me o tara, ka rere iho ki ngā waihono o Pākihi kura puta noa I te toi te huatahi. Mai te awa o mōtū ki Waioa, ka whakapau atu ki te wai o tirohanga, he uri au no ngā tīpuna I nohi ai e nei maunga, I nohi ai e nei awa, ko te ringahuia hata tōku ingoa, no Ngāti Ira, Ngāti Rua me Ngāti Patu. Kia ora tātou katoa. Aroha mai, I'm slightly unprepared. I just jumped off travel and plane as always. I'm always on the road, and so I've just sort of tuned in at the last minute. If my audio cuts out, just let me know. However, kia ora ki aku hoa, ngā hoa I rungi I te Zoom nei, ngā hoa kare anoa kia tūtaki, ngā whanaunga kare anoa kia tūtaki, kia ora tātou katoa. E mihi ana. It's a full circle moment for me being here, actually. I was involved in the Tāwharau group in 97 with Vaughan, so we were just reminiscing over that period. I think it was like 27 years ago. Is that how old your baby is now, Vaughan? And he actually named his son, Te Tāwharau, after our Rōpū, because we were challenging the first settlement of the Crown, as everyone knows. And we're still here challenging the status quo. And we're challenging the government, whatever the government is of the day. We're challenging the acts, we're challenging the policies, and that's not going to change. Just in answer to question one, I guess, I find it quite narrowcast, the question. Of course, whakatohea uri want a settlement. Of course, we've been waiting more than 30 years, 170 years for Te Tiriti to be honoured. That goes without question. So I think in regards to the question, everyone's asking is, well, it is a divisive process. That's how treaty settlements work. I think the key thing is, though, that in regards to this settlement, the ratification process demonstrated who supports the settlement, who doesn't. The Ahika vote at the marae you've had monthly supports who supports the settlement and who doesn't. Across the last 5 years since the establishment of all the entities, you've seen huge divisive processes. And I think now, we're come to a stage where no, the settlement isn't endorsed yet by Parliament. It's only been through its first reading. There's still a long way to go. There's 2 more readings to go. There's a select committee process. Litigation is still pending. There's the Treaty of Waitangi claim still being inquired into by the North Eastern Bay of Plenty inquiry. And as you all know, we're all involved in those spaces in different ways. So, you know, in answer to that, just for everyone's knowledge, the Ngāti Ira claimants did not support the settlement from the outset, from day one. And that's purely because they want their Raupatu claim, which is a historical claim, inquired into, the historical breaches inquired into by the Waitangi Tribunal first, then a settlement after that. Easy. That's really black and white for us. That's been upfront and accountable since day one. And we've been very clear that the enemy in that space has been the Crown, not our people, and the policies. So, you know, waihoma te ture anō, te ture e aki, let the legal course take its legal course. I think we're here today in a different space, and I'm glad to see we're in a different space of the Kohanga Reo generation coming through. I think they're the generation that are going to lead our people into emancipation, into the future. I think that, unfortunately, in my view, the leadership that's gotten here this far has been the fault of a lot of the divisive processes in this space. And that's been challenged, and that will continue to be challenged if that doesn't change. I'm all for rangatahi leading all the processes out. It's not about whether Te Ringahuia supports the settlement or not. I don't operate in the singular. It's about what my hapu want, what my pautikanga, my kaumātua, my Pakeke supported, and what they don't support. And that's who nominated me as a general trustee. I didn't put myself up. I don't speak or walk alone. I don't intend to. I will carry the voice of all those people that don't have a voice in this space, and there are a few. I'm apologetically a strong, stroppy voice at any table. It doesn't matter where we are. Yeah, you can thank Muriwai for that, I think, and a lot of that. And I'm unapologetic about it. I'm straight up the guts about it, and I'll confront any issue where I see there's a breach or takahi o tikanga in that space. So that's why I'm here in this role. And again, as Kahukore said, hapu, iwi, wai claimants, all that space is better left in that space. That space is a whole different ball game, and unless you're in that space fighting for your treaty rights and the Tiriti Article 2 and Article 3 that guarantees our rights, that's best left in that space for people who know what they're doing in that space. What I don't want to see is a lot of that divisiveness brought in here, because we need a new brand of leadership. And I think that's where te tāwharau, te tāwharautia mā tātua, I think that was the intention in 1997 when we had the first protest group. It's still my intention now. What do I believe is the most important attribute as a trustee? I think it's integrity. As we enter a post-settlement phase, whānau, you know, it's not a monthly marae hui, it's not a monthly trust board hui, it's not a lands trust meeting. This is serious, serious mahi we need to get done around this table. You wear and bear the burdens of decisions made around this table that affect the unborn generations as well. If one of us fail at that table, we all fail. So collectively, we're responsible for the wairua, the economic and the social well-being of our people we're representing at that table. That's a role I take seriously. I've been taking it seriously for the last 7 years, and I'm unapologetic about it. What you hear is what you're going to get at the table. Actually, you know, out of me and my 3 sisters, I'm probably the quiet one. I'm the quiet one. You know, just to give an example.
Ko te waiahua.
Just to give an example, organising that commemoration in 2015 for the Battle of Karata. It was massive. In 2015, that was the last time all our hapu and iwi were united. 2015, Uncle Ranginui Walker stood up and gave the last speech of his life, passed away 3 months later. To me, that was my biggest attribute and contribution to unifying and demonstrating how you can unify our people on that single kaupapa. So if I get in, you vote me in, that's the unapologetic voice I bring to the table. Kia ora tātou.
Tēnā koe te ringahuia. Next we have, I think this is Marsh. Tēnā koe Marsh. Also, aroha mai, Nicholas. Hey, koe Nicholas.
Kia ora. Kia ora whānau, ko Nicholas Hellier McGill, toko ingoa, ko ngā Tamahoa, toko hapu. I'm a descendant of Ngāhi Rāka Waitangi and Arthur Thompson. This is my connection back to Te Whakatoa. I'm standing as a general trustee and also as a rangatahi candidate. I've recently graduated with a bachelor's degree majoring in political science and Māori and Indigenous studies, and I'm currently completing a master's degree where I look at how we can encourage more Māori to participate in endurance sports, developing a culturally appropriate model that can allow us to thrive. Outside of this, my work life has given me valuable experience in hospitality, retail, customer service, and accounts. So on the first question, if I support the settlement and why, the settlement was what really brought me back home to Whakatoa. And learning about who we are and our history, it was impossible to not learn of the Raupatu and the devastating impact it had on our tepuna, and seeing how these effects are still being felt today. The more I learned, the more it made sense of why I grew up disconnected from our iwi, disconnected from our hapu and marae. Living in the Waikato, I have seen how Tainui have been able to build with their settlement. As an iwi, they've taken their settlements and turned themselves into an economic giant. I believe over a similar time frame, we can also transform Whakatoa into an economic giant. This is what I want for Whakatoa. I want us to prosper in all aspects, economically, culturally, spiritually. I saw the settlement as an opportunity for us to grow our capacity, taking what the government was offering and using that to lift us all up. This is something that the government hasn't always been able to do. So we need to take it off their hands and grow in a way that all Whakatoa can thrive. During the settlement process, I was invited to contribute to 2 zui, speaking on how I saw the settlement benefiting our people. Speaking on these zui solidified my aspirations for a healthy, happy Whakatoa. And standing and running for Te Tāwharo is my way of helping to realise these aspirations. On the second question, what do I believe would be the most important attribute as a trustee? It's honesty. Honesty is the big one. Doing the right thing and being sure that you can say that you have. This is a heavy responsibility being on Te Tāwharo, because it's not just us to think about. We need to remember this is for the future. We must be honest and clear on what we do, and ensuring the future is our #1 priority. If we're questioned on why we are doing something, we must be upfront and honest about why we are doing it. There shouldn't be anything to hide. The settlement is for Whakatoa, and we're trusted to act in its best interests. An example of how I've demonstrated this attribute through mahi. Currently, I deal with a lot of financial information, both of our customers and also our business. I'm responsible for processing and handling of payments, both big and small. This is a role that requires a lot of honesty and transparency. What I say I'm going to do has to be what I do. There's a level of accountability that I have to adhere to. As a trustee, I feel we must have the same level of accountability to the people who have elected us. You're all putting your trust in us here to deliver a sustainable future for our iwi. So it's up to us to be honest and clear about our intentions and actions. So, and the fourth question, what do you see as the main challenge? If we want to attract our people home, then housing is a huge challenge for us. Just today, I had a look on Trade Me, and right now there are just 2 houses available for rent. Harcourt has another 2, so it's 4 I could easily find. Housing is a nationwide issue, but with the opportunity to focus on something specific to Whakatoa. As a board, a housing strategy will be essential. The commercial redress from the Crown provides us with first right of refusal on any Crown land within Orohi. As well as the land we're already receiving, we have the opportunity to strategically purchase land for housing our whānau. We can look to the Ringa Ropa program, which provides trades training for rangatahi. This program could be expanded and scaled up. If we can develop that capacity, that mātauranga, so that our rangatahi, or in fact anyone who wants to learn a trade, can do so in their own whenua. And their learning and mahi will both provide them with a good income and also increase the housing availability in Paporiki. While governments have made money available for housing, this is aligned to the policy direction and goals of whoever the government currently is. Our housing needs shouldn't be beholden to the whims of the government of the day. If we build this capacity ourselves, we can guarantee steady and consistent growth and be able to provide housing for ourselves regardless of any political changes. This can be applicable to anything else we wish to do. We can be self-sufficient, we can exercise our mana motuhaki. As a candidate, I've agreed to the oath. So I look to the last lines of the oath there. I'll put whakatoia first and will not be unfairly partial to one beneficiary or group of beneficiaries to the detriment of any other. The way I see it is that this settlement isn't necessarily for us right here now, it is for us to set a course for a brighter future for our uri. The only beneficiaries we should be partial to are them, our tamariki, our mokopuna, the future of whakatoia. Our tupuna fought against the crown in an uphill battle, always with us in mind. And now we're here, we need to continue to do the same. This is about whakatoia as a whole, not one individual or group within it. Always putting whakatoia first. The oath reminds us of the importance of this kaupapa. And settlement processes are divisive. This process has brought up a lot of hurt that our people have suffered. This is generations of pain coming up to the surface. The invasion of Whakatoia was 158 years ago. That doesn't disappear with a flick of a pen. What I can do is promise to engage in good faith, to listen and to acknowledge that everyone else is coming to this from their own perspective. The settlement isn't perfect, but it is something tangible for us to use and build something great for our uri. I touched on honesty before. It is that honesty that I'll bring to my mahi on Te Tawharo. Lastly, this is an opportunity to continue the work of the Pre-Settlement Trust. The work they have done to get us here has been incredible. Many who put this work in are no longer with us to see the aspirations realized. And it is because of all their work and sacrifices that we stand here today. So ngā mihi. And thank you for listening. I appreciate your consideration of me as a candidate, and also a big thank you to all these other candidates standing. This is a big step. We all want the best for our iwi. So, kia ora. And kia mau ki te kotahitanga o te whakatohea. Kia ora.
Tēnā koe, Nicholas. Nei tatami kia koe hoki. And next we have Marsh. Tēnā koe, Marsh.
Whānau, tēnā koutou, ko Marsh mua ahau, he uri ahau no te whakatoia, ko oku hapu ko Ngāti Pāti Moana, ko Ngāi Tamahaua, ko oku marae, ko Waiawa, ko Ōpape, tēnā koutou. Kia ora whānau. So yeah, for me, it's been a 30+ year journey for us to get to this point with our settlement. And I think for me, it's this exciting opportunity for our iwi as we move forward into this next chapter. And I think, like, for me, it's been really about, looking back, growing up in our town. Back in that 80s, that period there, our town was thriving. We had late night shopping on a Friday. We had multiple businesses. We had sewing factories, the textiles, the Nagels, the boot factory. So we had lots of things. And now, then slowly things started changing our local economy. As businesses shut down, and I think the Trust Board has done a great job with the resources that it had up to now. And I think that started to turn things around. I think with the establishment of the mussel farm and the aquaculture, I think this led to the harbour development and mussel factory. And I think and then all this was a result of the vision of our whānau, which is on the Trust Board. So I think they've done what they had at hand. I think they've done a great job up to now. For me, with the mussel farm and the harbour development, I think it's been a game changer for our community. And I think moving forward, it's going to be good. It's good. Everything happening with the settlement is going to be good for our whakatoia whānau. And I think and if it's for me, if it's good for whakatoia, it's good for our Pōtiki community. And I think I see Te Tawharo sort of continue to lead their way in our community, as we should be. We should be leading the way in our community. So pretty much, so for the questions, I sort of have a look at them. So did I support settlement? Yes, I did support settlement. Why? For me, it was time. It was time to move forward. Initially, I felt very strongly that I wanted to see all our whenua return to all our whānau, to our hapu. But unfortunately, it just sort of appeared the Crown wasn't going to let that happen. And I think it was time for us to move. We needed to move forward. And for me, it was never going to be enough, but it was enough for me to move forward. So that's why I supported it. It was time for us to move forward. And then why have I chosen to stand? I think now for me, it's probably with the transition into the new post-settlement entity, I think it's probably the most crucial time for us as iwi. And I sort of approached by a few whānau if I'd consider running. And then I sort of thought, no, a good opportunity for me to be involved. There's a lot of big decisions going to be made moving forward. And for me, I want to be involved in those discussions for our iwi, developing those strategies, those frameworks, making sure the decisions moving forward will benefit our iwi and ensuring they benefit not only ahi ka, but also our majority of our whānau that don't reside at home. And that's the thing for me. I want to be involved in that kōrero. The reality is that for me, I believe too, if you're not sitting at that board table, it's pretty hard to get your message across. So that's for me. I want to be sitting there, be involved in the discussions and push on behalf of our whānau. I think for the second question, what do you believe is the most important attribute for a trustee? I think to be an effective trustee, you need to be able to engage with the beneficiary of your whānau. And that's for us, it's our whānau and our hapu, having the ability to engage with whānau at all levels, listening to their thoughts, concerns, their fears, their aspirations, their hopes and dreams, and working with them to try and figure out solutions and support them and address whatever their kaupapa is, and then making it happen, however that may be, and try and develop those strategies and those put those frameworks in place. I've got experience. I worked with the regional council for 9 years, so sort of worked in that regional government sort of area, and then they also been involved with district council. So for me, so involvement in there, and so for me also too, I've been involved with our Ngā Tātua COGS funding committee, so supporting our whānau in that space in the last year or so too. For examples, how I demonstrated those attributes, for me, for majority of my mahi's really been around supporting some of my marae, so mainly the Waiawa and Ōpapi, so project managing and supporting the marae development. I've been doing it probably for the last 6 or 7 years, and so that's the thing. And a lot of it too is about working, building those relationships with those funders, and with the local government too, because working around the resource consents and building consents and that thing too. But it's a lot of it too is around the main part really is that engagement with the whānau. It's not about what I want to do at the moment. It's making sure that we get the outcomes that our whānau want. And so it's about trying to build. It's about building those relationships, and so that's what I think one of my key those skills and attributes have been, is about getting that engagement with the whānau, and then making what their aspirations are, and then making them a reality. So that going on to so sort of just by default, I've ended up sort of becoming end up involved with quite a few other marae and other community organisations, and just supporting our whānau in that space. I think so become a bit of an unofficial advisor to them, but just helping supporting our whānau and just helping them build their capacity within their own organisations, and so they can, and so that's something I found that's been really rewarding for me. And I think so just supporting our whānau, so not only whakatoi with whānau apene as well, so helping out down there, so my hapu and iwi down there, so working around there. So what I see as the main challenges facing whakatoi for the next 3 years, and how we approach this as a trustee, I think one of our key challenges is housing. I see the reality is in our community we've got whānau living in vehicles, and the vehicles we've got homeless. It's not obvious, but it's happening in our community, and I think it's a good start's been made. I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges I see this working on that space, and I think it's making sure too that we make it achievable for our whānau, and we support our whānau and doing that. But I think that's one of the biggest ones for me. Also, I think around the with our marae too, and it sort of flows on to, I think, with the settlement.
Te te wā, Mash.
With the settlement, a lot of promises we made and stuff like, even like around the marae insurance, I said, no, things like that. We would say, once we get to their settlements done, we'll be able to look at, well, we've done our settlement now. It's making sure we follow through with those sorts of things. And those are the sorts of things I want to champion. Especially for our marae, I said, for me, we talk about cultural revitalisation. I said, well, where do we think that's going to happen? For me, that's our marae. We need to make sure our marae are fully supported to make that happen. So that's what I'm passionate about, is making sure that our whānau, our ahi kāna, we need to make sure that things at home are sorted, so our whānau that don't live at home can return home. And
So Marsh, nei rata mihi kia koe.
Kia ora
Kia ora hoi. Next, we have Lynn. Tēnā koe, Lynn.
Kia ora. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko make o tōku maunga, ko waiawa tōku awa, ko waiawa tōku marae, ko Don Ristra raua, ko Josie Ristra, oku mātua, ko Lynn Ristra tōku ingoa. Yes, I fully supported the settlement, as did Ngāti Patu Moana. I believe it's time to determine our iwi's future without Crown stipulations, so that we've come out from under their umbrella. I think that the settlement, and when the third reading passes through, the legislative bill ensures our history gets to be heard by all New Zealanders and others overseas, and our history is preserved by us for all of whakatohia. The attributes needed for trustees, first of all, being a good team player, being able to recognise each trustee's strengths in knowledge and skills, and working positively with everybody for all of us in the iwi. I also think there's a need for the ability to think what I call with an overview lens, always focusing on what's best for all, still taking in consideration whānau, hapu, also thinking about ahika, but very much including the 90% of our iwi who live away. With the overview lens, one of the examples I would use is realising the importance of linking post-COVID economic recovery funding when I was mayor for furthering a large number of projects that were in our 10-year plan for the Opotiki District Council, so that our ratepayers wouldn't have to fund those projects. There was about $26 million extra coming into Opotiki in that time, saving jobs within many of our Opotiki businesses and creating a 3-year timeline of work, as well as preparing quite a few of those businesses for the mahi that went on the harbour transformation. Team player. Well, my example there is looking at the workforce space. As mayor, I was able to quickly organise funding for workforce development for rangatahi, and we had an excellent team of social organisations, 2 dedicated council staff, plus my supportive and advocacy role, where new jobs were developed, and we had outstanding results during that time locally. I think the main challenges over the next 3 years, first of all, within the trustees, is creating a mutually respectful and positive working group, so our decision-making is timely, positive, and looking to fulfill our iwi's aspirations. We need to be looking to reunite our hapu and reconnecting our iwi. We need to be creating the best committees and structures needed to enable our entity the best environment for creating successful outcomes. The approach is needed, working closely within our trust and also the trust purposes. We actually have a map of how we are supposed to work as trustees. We have mandatory duties, we have schedules to follow. Once we take on the trust deed and everything is set out for us to follow, with both the trust deed and the oath, working with integrity, honesty, and humility for our iwi, recognising the honour to be part of this mahi is really important. I think our duties as the initial trustees are very specific. We have that trust deed to follow. We will have established a code of conduct, and we'll have publicly declared our te oatitanga and adhere to it, I hope. With all of these processes, this will help sort any challenges. The one thing I learned from my time as Mayor of Opotiki is that when there are breaches of a code of conduct, one must act quickly, call on independent help, and follow through the processes. Not acting when there is a breach of code of conduct or people lacking integrity in their work means bigger problems down the track. We have those first 3 years to create an excellent entity, ensuring positive action from all of our trustees. How I would try to work towards uniting and reaching our collective potential. Well, first off, there needs to be excellent communication and with each of our hapu on a very regular basis and not just digital or by print. We have to have our trustees having regular hui with our whānau and with our hapu, lots of reporting back to them. And I think we need to spend a lot of time as trustees hearing and sharing the visions of everyone. The collective potential also requires the collective moving forward as iwi, honouring our past, but wanting more for our future generations through our positive actions. We need to be gathering more iwi data, knowing who we are, where we are, what we're doing, and linking it all through manaakitanga. And I believe we need to increase our digital footprint as whakatoia iwi, with the expansion of the sharing of knowledge. Tēnā koutou katoa.
Amen. Nei rata me kia koe. And next we have Tania Marie. Tēnā koe Tania Marie.
Kia ora. Ko tiro whetu te maunga, ko te kākaho te awa, ko te poho o tamaterangi te whare tīpuna, ko ani e waho te whare kai, ko te huinga o te ao te kohanga reo, ko kuterere te marae, ko nai turanga me upokorehe o ku hapu, he mokopuna ahau o Nick me mere tapiki, ko Sani te Hurunui tapiki tōku mātua, ko Tina Marie Smith tōku whaia, kei whanganui a Tara tāku kainga, ko Tanya Marie Tapaki Smith tōku ingoa, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. I stand before you as a proud mama of 2 university-age daughters and am honoured to seek a general seat on this board. I want to acknowledge my fellow candidates, both those who have shared their aspirations and those who will present soon. I wish them all the very best, regardless of the outcomes that await. My heartfelt thanks go to Te Tāwharo o Te Whakatohea board for affording each of us the opportunity to present tonight. I am deeply grateful to my esteemed komatua Wallace Aramoana and Koro Trevor Ransfield for nominating me to run in this election. It is indeed an honour. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you, the voters, listeners, and our whānau with a deeper understanding of who I am as a candidate. I bring with me a wealth of experience and expertise in my role as the founder and managing director of The Brokerage, a company dedicated to investment management and high-level advisory services. We are the power brokers delivering resources to creative projects on a global commercial scale. In addition, I serve as a director and lead strategist for TEDx Wellington, where we craft TED Talks that position Aotearoa and Māori culture on the global stage. My educational background includes a double major Bachelor of Science focusing on biology and cellular biology. This foundation gifts me with the research analysis, evaluation capabilities, and the ability to communicate with precision. I excel in diverse, ever-changing environments where people come from various backgrounds with unique perspectives. Dealing with conflicts and differing viewpoints is a common challenge, but it's my duty to handle these complexities and manage diverse expectations to reach our shared objectives. This demands a strong dedication to understanding each viewpoint deeply, even when it's challenging but absolutely necessary. My goal is to ensure that we all work together in harmony with active listening and effective problem solving as vital parts of my approach. While professions such as financial advisors and lawyers may bring specific skills to a board, with respect, I must emphasize that the essence of effective board service is not merely operational. As a trustee, I believe that one of the most vital attributes is the ability to operate with unity. Drawing from my experience on the ex-Wellington Trust Board, I know how crucial it is to fulfill the duties expected of trustees. These duties cover various responsibilities, including acting honestly in the beneficiary's best interests, wisely managing assets, and maintaining impartiality among beneficiaries. In practice, these duties are best executed when board members can effectively communicate, maintain transparency, and collaborate seamlessly. Unity represents the seamless interaction where trustees work together with transparency, integrity, and a shared sense of purpose. By fostering unity, the board can function cohesively, ensuring that the best interests of the trust and its beneficiaries are upheld with the highest level of professionalism and accountability. As we navigate the complexities faced by the trustees on this board, arising from the colonial constructs and Crown processes that led to the settlement, a central goal is clear: softening the lines of division and building unity. And how do we embark on this? And how do we embark on this transformative journey? One of the greatest human failings is to prefer to be right than to be effective. We must strive to be effective and impactful, especially if our collective aim is to serve the communities associated with this board. I believe that the essence of this board is to ensure we rise together. In closing, in my various roles as a board member, TEDx strategist, and owner of an investment management company, spanning 2 decades, my leadership skills have been finely tuned. I uphold a personal code, which is my unwavering commitment to honesty and addressing those in positions of influence. The commitment is of utmost importance, particularly on a board with significant influence over all 6 hapu. You can trust my dedication to truth-telling, even when others may hesitate. Furthermore, I am steadfast in protecting the valuable assets of Upokorehe, ensuring their safety and growth. If you value these principles, then vote for me. I'm your girl. Thank you.
Tanya Marie. And finally, but certainly not least, Kei a koe hemi.
Kia ora tātou te whānau. Ka moia mate wiki ki a Te Owai, ka puta ko Hāwera Walker, ka moia Hāwera ki a Rona, ka puta ko Anthony Walker, ka moia Anthony ki a Rita, ka puta ko au. Me aku pekanga ki roto I te whānau Apanui, Ngāti Porou. My name's Hemi Walker. I descend from the humble and unassuming Ngāti Patu Moana. And I suppose from my perspective, to not support the settlement would be a disservice to the tireless effort of those who fought and petitioned the government back in 1914. Although initially unsuccessful, as has been shared tonight in their attempt, our iwi continued to fight. I pay homage to the Whakatohea Tribal Executive of 1947. I pay homage to the 1989 Whakatohea Raupatu Claim, Y87, under the chairmanship of Claude Edwards, which enabled the ensuing negotiations with the Crown. The Whakatohea Raupatu Negotiation Committee, established under the Tū Te Whenua Māori Act of 1993, I pay homage to that. The Tuaki Whakatohea Collective, who worked with the Whakatohea Trust Board to ascertain the needs and aspirations of the tribe and our people through a series of hui up and down the country. As a result of these collective approaches, Whakatohea Uri voted to approve and mandate the Whakatohea Pre-Settlement Claim Trust to negotiate the deed of settlement, the Crown as we know it today. So here I am, me te whānau, acutely aware of what it has taken our whānau to get to this point, and our kaumatu and our kuia. So putting my name forward in the hope of contributing to the legacy left by our kaumatu tipuna e rangatira, that is my why. That is also why I, along with my whānau, wholeheartedly support the settlement. Governance experience, teamwork, resilience, management, leadership, honesty, advocacy. Those are the key attributes I think we need as trustees. From my perspective, this will be my first time getting involved in democratic process of a governance. In my mahi, I'm a senior leader in education. So my work within governance has been within my professional space. I've worked extensively with and on governing boards, trustees to advocate for whānau Māori aspirations and ensuring their needs are reflected in the operations through policy. I live here in Waikato, in Hamilton, with my whānau, but we are aware of who we are and what makes us te whakatohea. But I've grown up here in Waikato and I've learned the tricks of the trade and I've developed my skills within this space. And it's timely that Te Tāwharo opens their doors and provides us with an opportunity to come home and redistribute our skills that we've learnt away from him and bring them back hei oranga mo te iwi. Like I've said, I'm a male Māori within the space. Within the space that I work, are like hen's teeth. And we're often relegated to advisory and consultancy roles. However, it is through my resilience, and that's an element that I think is important for trustees, challenging the status quo and advocating for kaupapa Māori issues, I think is important as a trustee on these boards and these governance positions. The main challenges, I think, within the next 3 years, I don't think there's so much challenges, but there are opportunities for us. Historically, our most disenfranchised members of our community, not just as Whakatohea, but across Aotearoa and within many other iwi, have been our rangatahi. Whether it's health, education, law and order, or even our democratic process such as this, our rangatahi do not see themselves reflected in these spaces. So this is the platform that I'm running on as a candidate, to challenge our rangatahi to move away from a perspective of passive observer to a position of active participation and influence in the decision making. For me, te wātitanga o te tāwharau is important. There are 4 elements. First two, trust and integrity. Te wātitanga is a pledge to act in good faith and honesty and integrity in the best interest of our uri. There may arise circumstances where trustees may disagree or hold a firm position, particularly on sensitive issues, as been discussed tonight. However, Te Wātitanga ensures we're impartial in our interactions and discussions, that we refer to the notions as outlined in the deed. The other 2 for me are the legal and ethical framework. So in a legal context, Te Wātitanga will be used to formalise our obligations and responsibilities as trustees if we are successful. Oaths, as they commonly known in the Western framework, involves witnesses in court swearing to tell the truth, or democratically elected officials taking an oath of office to uphold some kind of a constitution. So from a legal standpoint, that's what Te Wātitanga means for me. In terms of addressing the division that may be caused as a result of this process, I think in the first instance, as a trust, we need to be united in the way in which we operate in accordance with the deed. The trustees will need to work collaboratively to develop a framework which we will conduct our roles and responsibilities, a set of working values, I suppose, that inform our collective and individual decisions. Like I said, there'll become times when we make decisions that everyone doesn't agree with, but so long as we are transparent with each other and to those who put us there in those positions. So for me, it's about bringing my skills that I've learned within the spaces that I've been in professionally, and it's about learning from examples across, not only within Te Whakatōhea, but across Aotearoa, that we bring those learnings and we bring those lessons, I suppose, back into this space so that we make the right decisions. And I go back to the kōrero from Nicholas, who spoke about Waikato Tainui within the mahi I've done as a leader within a kura here in Hamilton. It has been my responsibility to work with mana whenua, to work with Waikato Tainui, as Nicholas has referred to, a superpower within the settlement space, and negotiated. I've negotiated on behalf of Waikato Tainui Uri to gain benefits for them in realising their aspirations. Why do I mention Waikato Tainui? Because I think we would be naive to not look outside of our boundaries, to not look outside of our rohe, to models of success, because it is through those models that they've had success and they've had failures as well. So for me, it's about bringing those skills back. And what's been shared tonight in regards to some of the nawe or the taumahatanga throughout the settlement process, for me, it's about moving forward. I go back to, when Te Kotahi Mahuta, when they settled, Waikato Tainui settled, they settled for way less than what was given. But Te Kotahi could see the vision and the potential for the iwi, and I suppose as a trust, as a collective, we need to look beyond that, and look at the opportunities that this trust in Te Tawhara will bring following the settlement. So those are the skills I bring to this table. I'm a candidate for the rangatahi. You probably won't realise that with the greys on my beard, but I am eligible for the rangatahi role, and so I'll advocate within that space. Nō reira, mihi ana kia tātou, tēnā rā tātou katoa.
Nā koe hemi. Kia ora koutou katoa. Nei rā te mihi kia koutou katoa. Can I just thank you all, firstly, for accepting the nomination and to stand for Te Tawhara or Te Whakatōhea, for giving your time for our whānau, for our hapu, for our iwi. Thank you for preparing for tonight so that our uri understand you better, what you stand for, to help them make an informed vote, and for helping me keep the time as well. What I heard tonight was very inspiring, and I think we should be grateful for the candidates that we have in front of us. I heard passion and energy for the future of our whānau, our hapu and our iwi. I heard strong values to guide people in their behaviours and the decision making. And I heard a strong understanding of not just the challenges but the opportunities that you will face as trustees, and the experience and skills that you will bring to the table to help us optimise those opportunities and address those challenges. But yeah, just again, thank you for standing. Thank you for your time tonight. Whānau, we have our remaining 9 candidates for the general seats tomorrow night at 7:30. And I'll hand back over to Uncle Robert to close our hui. O reira, kia ora no tātou. Thank you, I'll mute Uncle. Yeah, I'll mute Uncle.
Yeah. Hey, don't go to nine. Aye. Kia ora. Yeah, I endorse what you said, Vaughan. Over the last few months, I suppose I had reservations. I wasn't too sure what the future in the incoming group is going to look like. But after tonight, I have no fear at all. I think it's going into the Rangatai's hands. It is their time, and they will carry this, what we have left behind, what we have fought for, what we have put before them. So I'm very pleased indeed to hear the aspirations and the spirit, te wairua, o te whakatohea e kōrero ana, e puta mai ana I tēnā, I tēnā, I tēnā. No reire e mihi ana kia koutou katoa. No reire e te ngota matua tamoto wairua tapu, amen. E te atua ka harawa ko hoki mai anō mātou ki mua I a koe. Ko tipai tēnei hui wainga nui a mātou I tēnei rā. A whako te tuarai mua I a mātou. E hoki ana ki o mātou kāinga tia ki na mātou I tēnei rā. A I ngā rā kei mua I a mātou. Koe ne mātou I noi atu nei ki a koe. E o mātou ana mātou ki a koe te whae a tapu o te atu hei piringa mō mātou. Kau e whakakino mai ki o mātou I noi o mātou mate. Engari whakaorengi a mātou I ngā mea whakamataku katoa. E te takakau I whakaklori e te ai whakapaingia. I roto I te ngota matua te tama te wairua tapu. Amen. Kia ora tātou.
Amene. Pomari.
Pomari.
Ai.
Kia ora.
O Mārie.